I'm Anne-Marie Howard. Welcome to the Dennis Kucinich for President Weekly Update for Monday, November 26th. The latest in our weekly reports to keep you informed on Dennis's race to the presidency. The big story this week, New Hampshire. With the New Hampshire primary just 44 days away, presidential candidate Kucinich is crisscrossing the Granite State, sharing with citizens his vision for moving America forward. The latest polls reveal a boost in support for Kucinich among Democratic primary voters, and the momentum was evident this past week as Dennis drew enthusiastic crowds in communities throughout the state. The congressman was in Manchester, New Hampshire this past Wednesday, where he held a press conference to discuss House Resolution 333, his bill for the impeachment of Vice President Dick Cheney. The congressman was joined by New Hampshire State Representative Betty Hall. An outspoken Democratic legislator from Brookline, Hall recently sought to introduce a statewide resolution in the New Hampshire House supporting impeachment. She said that Kucinich's bold leadership in Congress led to her decision for endorsing his presidential campaign.
But when I listened to the debate on his privilege motion, I knew I had not only to support him, but I had to endorse him.
The two representatives will again be discussing the subject of impeachment tonight at 7 p.m. as they address an impeachment teach-in at Dartmouth College. Some of those sponsoring the event are The Nation magazine, Progressive Democrats of America, and the New England Impeachment Coalition. For the most current reports on the campaign, log on to www.dennisforpresident.com. That's Dennis, the number 4, president.com. Following a Tuesday appearance at Concord High School where he addressed a crowd of over 500 students, Kucinich was in Portsmouth Wednesday where supporters braved the rain and cold to join the congressman for a book signing at the popular River Run bookstore. A packed house listened intently as he shared passages from his new book, The Courage to Survive.
He squinted and then said, "Okay, but you better do something about that cough."
In Dover, a substantial crowd came to catch Dennis conveying the urgency of protecting and defending the United States Constitution.
Impeachment is off the table. You know what else is off the table? And the Constitution of the United States is off the table.
Following that appearance, the congressman spoke with a group of several high school students who stayed late to ask what they could do to help him win his race to the White House. Also on Wednesday, Dennis traveled to Durham, where he addressed an eager crowd of people at the University of New Hampshire. The event was organized by the UNH Students for Kucinich, many of whom stayed at school to support the campaign rather than head home for Thanksgiving. On Saturday, Dennis traveled to New Hampshire's North Country, where the congressman made a series of appearances highlighting his plans to help rural communities.
It's so refreshing to hear hear everything you say, and I've listened to you for years and nail it right on, and the courage that you have to step forward is just really admirable, so thank you.
Elizabeth Kucinich was campaigning in California last week. On Saturday, November 17th, she addressed the executive board meeting of the California Democratic Party during their general session in Anaheim. On Tuesday, with the writers' strike still on, Elizabeth delivered a letter of support from Dennis to the Writers Guild of America and joined their march right down Hollywood Boulevard. On the eve of Thanksgiving, Elizabeth took part in a tree planting ceremony arranged by the International Indigenous Sacred Women's Council in partnership with the Red Nation celebration. The ceremony included the planting of a memorial tree in remembrance of the millions who died as a result of the colonization of the United States. Elizabeth then met Dennis in New Hampshire for Thanksgiving, and she joined him to campaign there over the weekend before returning to her tour of the western states. This week, Dennis will continue his 10-day tour of New Hampshire with a series of town hall meetings Tuesday in Plymouth, New Hampton, and Exeter, and will be speaking at a carbon nuclear-free symposium at New Hampshire Technical Institute. Wednesday, he'll give a major address at the New England College Convention at the Radisson Hotel in Manchester and host a locally televised town hall meeting.
Because Dennis is offering himself as the choice. He's the person who says, look, I'll go in there and I'll do battle. But it's up to the people really on the ground to start saying, we're going to reclaim our democracy. And the way we do it is not by sitting on our sofas. They should be getting out there, talking to their neighbours, talking to people in their community. Should be really, really making an active effort to make the change.
You can see that people are concerned that we're losing our country. We're losing our country to lies, to war, to debt. And people are waiting for a leader to step forward who says that this is the truth, we're going to move towards peace, we're going to repair our relationship with the world community, and we're going to start focusing on jobs here at home and health care for everyone. And when they start to see the vision of the America that can be, they're on board. and people really want to reclaim their country.
There's really been an enormous shift over recent weeks, and we're seeing that actually all over the country, because people are saying, I know now my role is to stand up, to have my voice counted, my voice heard, and to mobilize the people around me.
We appreciate your help. We're glad to be here in New Hampshire, and let's move forward.
Now a word from Campaign Update team member Dutch Merrick.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Hi guys, Dutch Merrick here. This is an extremely important few days for the Kucinich campaign, and not just because the first caucuses and primary are right around the corner. Federal campaign finance laws make it possible for individual contributors like us to actually double the amount of money we raise for the campaign. Here's how it works. If you make, let's say, a $250 contribution to the Kucinich campaign, the government, through the Federal Elections Commission, will match that, doubling it. And if you have a friend or relative who contributes $100, that $100 gets matched from federal matching funds too. So contributions to Dennis's presidential campaign are worth double right now. That's better than a triple word score. But the deadline is just 3 short days away. It's this Thursday. So if you haven't made a contribution yet, this is the time to do it. If you've already contributed, this is the perfect time to add to it. And if you've been meaning to ask a friend or relative to join you as a campaign supporter, do it right now, today. It'll count twice as much. Remember, if you want to double your money, do it by this Thursday night. Log on to DennisForPresident.com or call 877-41-DENNIS to get your contribution in under the wire and double your impact for the campaign.
Thank you, Dutch. We look forward to joining you next week for the Dennis Kucinich Presidential Campaign Update. For campaign information updated daily, log on to www.DennisForPresident.com. That's Dennis, the number 4, President.com. See you next week.